A while ago, my business got too big and too complex to keep it all in my head. And I had not actually built anything to kind of combine everything in one area. Nothing to really hold it for me. So all of it was just me and my memory. The client details, the content, every single idea I had, and I had a lot of them every single day, and the things I kept meaning to follow up on. All of that was either sitting in my head, on to-do lists, on post-it notes on my screen, in my Notion board, Trello, Slack. I had so many tools and I never really used any of them because there was too much in there and it just confused me and overwhelmed me. So I just kind of followed what I thought I remembered. I think I had around 6 different apps to keep everything organized, right? And you know what? It's fine if you're small, but I got to a point where it just looked confusing. I burnt out. I missed deadlines because I couldn't remember what to do. And then also what app connects with what and what do I do on certain days. Like it just got all a bit too much. And so I did something about it. And today I want to walk you through the exact same thing that I did for my business to kind of clean it all up and put it all into one area. And this is the actual strategy, the way that I turned my business into something that I can now go into from my phone or from my computer or whatever tool I'm using and go back to and know exactly where I'm at and what I need to do on a single daily basis. I can carry it around everywhere. This time it's not in my head anymore.
You are listening to Head of the Algorithm, the podcast for business owners who refuse to be one step behind. I'm your host, Julia Mann, AI expert, marketing strategist, and someone who has built businesses the hard way so you don't have to. New episodes every week. Let's get into it.
I actually posted a few little clips of how I run things on those 2 different apps on my social media. And I kept getting the same messages and comments for a few weeks now. And mostly the same questions like, what is it? How much does it cost? How does it work? Can I do it as well? Can you record a full walkthrough? Now, obviously this is a podcast, so I'm not going to do a full walkthrough on how you set it up. That actually took me a few weeks and there's always little tweaks even after the few weeks that you need to do. But I will record a basic setup on how I did it for my YouTube channel very soon. But for this one, it's all about the strategy and I will also name the tools that you need to use. So stay tuned. Okay, so I use 2 things for this. Number 1, I use a Claude by Anthropic and I have the paid version. Now, for me, I do now need to go on the higher plan, which is I think 180 Australian dollars a month. But for very, very many months beforehand, I was on the $29 a month plan. And I only recently upgraded when I started to add everything into different buckets and had like a lot of automation happening every day. But for you, when you're starting out, all you need to have is the $29 plan. And the second app I'm using is called Obsidian. Now, the thing that actually made the difference is how I thought about it. And that is the part that I can hand you today, because then you can build and sit with it with what you are already using and implement it. So for years, I ran my business on a to-do list. I wrote the post, I replied to a client, I chase an invoice, I book the call, I follow up on the call. I would wake up and look at my to-do list, which I usually prepared the night before, or it was sitting in my Slack somewhere. And then I just started working through it. But the thing is that the pile never ended. Every day there was new stuff, and sometimes it was so big that I kept moving it along without actually doing anything with it. So it was on my to-do list for months at a time. And that is because I was creating every single item on it. And I was also the one finishing every single item on it. So what I decided to do is to put it all away into one system and not having it all sit in my head and on a list. So I guess you can say I gave my business a shape and a container, a place where everything lives and I have access to at any time. And because my head is always busy with high functioning ADHD, sometimes I forgot what connected with what tool, where I had something sitting, what social media posts I should be posting. So I needed something that would A, remind me of what I needed to do for that day, but B, also have a look at everything and understand how things are working together. Because one month I may have created a landing page. A few months later, I forgot that I had created the landing page. So I started all over again. And it's the same for client work. I've done all this stuff. I recorded videos and then I forgot that I had done it and I did it again. So, and this is where these 2 tools come in. So let me tell you quickly what each does. I'm sure you have all heard of Claude, but I want to walk you through it anyway. And then I will get into how it's actually put together because that's the important part. So Obsidian is a free app For me personally, I pay $5 now, but for you, if you're just starting out, free. But because of me and so many clients and so much storage and everything that it holds, I'm actually paying $5 a month, which is less than a cup of coffee. So on the surface, Obsidian looks like a note-taking app, very similar to the Notes app on your phone, just a little bit more complicated. But the reason why I use this is actually a little bit nerdy, and I'll try and kind of keep it very simplified. It's really just a window looking at a normal folder and files on my computer, so it connects to my computer. So it's not locking my business away inside some app. It is actually showing me my live folders that I already own. And it's organized so nicely in a shape that I wanted, because I need everything to be very visual so that I can understand it and my brain can follow it and remember it every single time. So that's Obsidian. It is connected to my files. And every time I change something in my files, which I work through with Claude, I tell Claude what to do, it updates automatically within Obsidian. So Claude is the AI, right? It's the large language model. And that's the part that does the work. Obsidian doesn't do the work. It's just like my hub for everything. And I have set it up so that it can read and write the files in the exact same folder. So when I say the business lives in one place, it literally genuinely lives in one place. And that's what we're looking at right now. But I look at it from Obsidian. Obsidian makes it easy for me to visualize, but Claude is the actual brain of the operations. And because I do all the work inside Claude that saves it to my folders, nothing ever gets lost in some separate folders or windows. And then I forget it in the moment and I don't know where anything is, or I close it by mistake. God forbid, happened a lot before. So that's the setup. So now let me walk you through it, now that you understand how things are working together, how to actually set this up, because that is the part that you can actually copy. So the first thing that I did was get everything into one place. And honestly, that alone did so much more than any clever automation. And this is the part that takes you the longest, most likely as well, if you have lots of different systems left, right, and center. And especially if you have different knowledge bases about the memory of your business in different things like Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. So everything that you have somewhere in any other apps needs to come together into one home now. And I recommend Claude for that. And so then there is a place for my clients, a place for my content, a place for my SOPs, for example, a place for my podcast, a place for my ads, and everything kind of connecting with each other. So that I now start on a client. And then if I, for example, go away overseas, which I'm doing on Friday, I can then pick it up again after 3 hours, after 24 hours of travel and some jet lag, not remembering where I left off. I just ask Claude, hey, where was I with Amy, for example? And it will tell me exactly where to pick up and what has been done so far. It's basically my personal assistant as well. So it makes me a lot easier to follow through on client fulfillment, but also filming content and podcasts like this one. And that's also the bit where my screen recording showed you how it can create the content. I have like a content radar. Now, all of that is created separately, but Obsidian still has it within it, even though it was not built in it. But I can see the setup and how things are connecting. I hope that makes sense now. So you basically just need to see like the shape of it, and then everything in there lives in its own place, and you can always refer back to it. Now, your AI can only really help you with what it can actually see, talking about business knowledge that you have done previously, like your knowledge base, your brand voice, your clients, and everything like that. Or it can work on what you are inputting new, but new stuff doesn't have its own memory yet. So you might have to clean it up before you plug it into your business to make sure that things don't get muddied. So for example, if your business is scattered across your inbox and your phone and a few apps and your own memory, then your AI is working half blind. And so are you. But the moment it all sits in one place, you can both finally see the whole thing at once. Then on top of that, like I said earlier, I built a few dashboards. A dashboard is just a single page that shows me like the state of things. For example, my content radar I created, I can see straight up what's trending, what should I be creating more of. You could create a dashboard on your financials, which I'm yet to do, that you can connect to your bank accounts. And then every day you have that financial dashboard showing you your income versus your outgoings. That's just an example. Could be also one page telling me where every client is up to. Another one telling me where the content is going. Another one telling me what content is going out and when. And then the other one that I have is how my ads are going, which is very, very helpful because I forget about my ads and I forget to check them. So now I get reminded every single Friday, this is how your ads are going. I get a notification on my WhatsApp. And then I can tell my AI to fix things or leave it as is. So when I sit down in the morning, I open up my Telegram and I can see my whole business literally in reading 30 seconds. There's quite a few messages that are coming through now, which includes all my emails. It includes all my social media posts that could go out, what's trending, how my ads are going, anything important I need to look at right away. So there's a little bit to read through, but I get this once a day. This is something that you would usually have a personal assistant for back in the day to tell you what to look at first thing and how everything is going in your business. But I set this up. So now I don't pay for that. You don't even understand. It takes away so much pain that I used to have to know where to start, what to look for with the brain that I have, which is a creator brain. I had to teach myself over the years to be more structured. But now with AI, I have that kind of implemented for me and I don't have to worry about that anymore. It has taken so much weight off because so much of the tiredness of running a business is just the effort of trying to remember things and then holding everything together, all the loose bits somehow. And then the next part is where it really stops being a filing system and starts to do the actual work for me. And inside all of this, I have set up Claude like a small team with different agents. And each one has a specific job. It's no longer me trying to remember everything all the time. Be the content agent, be the Facebook ads manager, be the blog post writer, be the podcast creator. These are now agents that I have created, granted over a few days, so it doesn't just happen like that. But I have created it and now it's literally easier than it has ever been before. And nothing gets written like a machine has written it. But one thing I did that I think a lot of people have done very differently to me is that I actually did not start and ask AI what it could do for me. I sat down and I described each and every single job first. And the good thing about that is I have run businesses in the past, 1 7 and 1 6-figure business, and I know what needs to be in place in order for a business to be successful. So with this creation of my ads agent, for example, I knew what I needed it to be. And if you just generically ask, how can you help me create ads? Sure, it will suggest you stuff, but it doesn't have the real business knowledge behind it. And this is where the human real business experience comes in, which I have over a lot of other people that are just starting out. So I sat down, I described the jobs first, almost like as if I was hiring a real person, and I described everything in detail. Now, this is the same way that you would kind of go about when you were to hire in real life. So the job description and the job title and the job everything came before the AI implementation. And that's the genuine difference between a system that works and just a pile of half useful chats that you have going on at any one time. So if you take one thing from this episode only, just one, is to give everything memory. If you've used any free versions of ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, you will know what I mean. You do the chat, you close it, and you go back in and it asks you again everything about you. This is number one why you should pay, so it has the memory, so that when you come back, it remembers everything and you don't have to start from scratch again, because that is bloody exhausting. And I think this is honestly the main reason why a lot of people give up on AI. And this is actually exactly what I've spoken about in previous videos. ChatGPT. There's only 5% of users for ChatGPT that are paying. So it is no wonder that everyone is creating the same AI slop. That is when you read something online and you can tell it uses the same phrasing, the same kind of words, the same hype language. It was created by a free AI without any knowledge base whatsoever on your brand voice. Now, to be fair, the paid version of ChatGPT does remember more than it used to, but it's still limited. You need to still train it really well and upload documents on your brand voice as much as you can. So in my setup, the memory is very deliberate. Every time something real happens, I make a decision. A client says yes, I change my mind on something, or I change an offer, or I did something really bad. It gets written down in a particular place and it gets saved. And my team, my AI team, reads that very same place every single time before it starts a new action. So they already know me. They know my voice. They know my clients by name. So I just go in. Yeah. For example, earlier I said, hey, I need to create this for Lucinda. It knows exactly who Lucinda is. And it knows exactly where I was and where I need to start off with again, which means I'm never ever starting from scratch. And if you've ever walked in on a Monday with no real idea of where you left things on a Friday afternoon, you will know exactly what that is worth. But there's one rule that I will never build anything without. Everything that I draft or research or organize or flag, anything that is done by my ads team or anything where I make decisions on, the system doesn't just automatically do it without me saying yes. I don't fully trust AI yet to just have everything autonomous. Although obviously with little things like social media posting, I'm a lot more lenient and yes is accepted. But if it comes to big decisions like anything to do with my clients and with my ads that I'm running, I always need to agree first and will always read through it first. I will always approve it first. So this is something I have built in to always have to accept it first in person. But the AI does the heavy lifting and then I still have the final call. It's not me really being nervous about everything. It's just like caution. Nice caution. Now, I don't want you to take away from this podcast that everything is too hard. You're not technical and you can't do it. I'm not technical. The only difference between me and you is that I'm doing the action. I'm working with AI every single day, and maybe that I have built businesses in the past so I can enter or put my own knowledge base into that as well. But if you just do it and you learn a little bit about AI every single day and you start playing around with it, you can get to this point fairly easily yourself. You don't have to be a coder or a programmer or any type of tech person. I am not. I used to own a beauty salon. Obsidian is free to start with. Claude is the one that costs when you start wanting to automate more things. And then obviously it's your time and your energy and testing things out. If you don't have much time, put at least 4 or 5 hours aside during the week to just test certain things out and start building, and write down every single task that you're currently doing in your business and where is your business currently living. Which apps are you using? And then go into Claude and ask, could you replace A, B, C, D? And how can I connect Obsidian with it? Upload a screenshot of my podcast, which is also on YouTube, when I show how my dashboard works or how it looks. And say, I want to create an Obsidian dashboard looking like that. So in case you are a visual person like me, you don't want to just look at folders. You want to look at a design where it makes sense to you. And please also remember, if you see anyone online that's selling you can do this all in one weekend, they're selling you a fantasy. I built mine one piece at a time. First, I gathered all the information. Then I asked a lot of questions. Then I tried and tested and fixed and tried and tested again. The whole process, probably like 6 weeks in now. But remember, I started with one home, then a dashboard, then the assistants, the memory came throughout that process, and it just grew because I kept using it. So do not try and build the whole thing at once. Start with one home first and then go from there. And I'm telling you the strategy instead of keeping it to myself on purpose, because there is a whole industry built on making this sound a lot harder than what it actually is. And I know that anyone can do it. And someone can charge you, thousands to set it all up for you, but you still got to connect it to your own files. So unless you give them your laptop and trust them with all the access and try and research everything you've ever done in your business and upload everything into your folders that live on your desktop anyway, I think you could do it yourself. Now, if you want any of the other tools I actually use to run all of this and create my images with, for example, or my CRM that I use, then please feel free to check out the show notes with my free AI tools library, which you can download for free. And that's a real stack of apps that I have used in the past or I am still using. Or you can go to juliamann.ai and also grab it for free. Now, if you are local to Brisbane and you would rather me come into your business because you absolutely don't want anything to do with it, I can do that for you as well. Please contact me on juliamann.ai and we will map it out for you on what yours should actually look like, even if it's just the strategy behind it and you do the building. I'm Julia Mann. Stay ahead.